Well, it's good night. It's about 11:52. Just had a couple of things in my mind to put out there. My podcast will be starting back doing interviews next month. My first interview will be a young lady by the name of Coco. She have a bonnet um, company where she sell bonnets, and that will be one of my interviews. There's gonna be a few more, but that's interview I'm gonna be posting real soon. But really, just thoughts on my mind of how this podcast life been. It been a road of information, a road of understanding, a road of just sitting back, putting ideas together, learning how to orchestrate a podcast, you know what I mean, to the point where it makes sense and people enjoy and people just sit back and they just stay in tune to what's going on at the moment. So yeah, I'm really excited about starting back up. Not gonna have as many hosts that I did last time, but I will have different hosts on different shows because I'm trying to like spread it out to the point where it's like it's different sets, but as you know, I trust self podcast is a podcast specifically by itself. But I trust self is a platform as well, and that's what I present, and that's what I'm presenting to people. But they look at it as a I trust self podcast, and I understand that's part of the life, but no, it's really a brand. So I'm learning how to put this together as like some type of media thing and understand to be able to push the next person in podcast. And that's what I've been doing, like just helping people behind the scenes with just ideas and thoughts of building a podcast because it was tough for me because I ain't have really no help. I went from my homeboy helping me from giving me ideas and different formats, but you always gotta try. It's like you really like your own crash dummy. Like I was my own crash dummy to the point where I did it the way I wanted to do it. Success, it's always gonna be success because I put content on. I did what I wanted to do. Ways of making money was the key point. Selling merch and things like that, and that's what me having side businesses and actually doing that, and that's what kept me my podcast interesting because I wasn't generating money from the actual podcast world to be for real. And so what I did was I'm still funding my podcast until you take off and you be like these other podcasts like Drink Champs and $1 Million Worth of Game and we could name Joe Rogan and it's so far so much so many podcasts out and that's doing well for themselves that we had to get in tune to that. So you got to put some work in. It's not really more work. It's more of who you could rub shoulders with and who you can make happy off that move. Because everybody don't really want to put nobody on if they really can't get nothing from it. People forget that part of the language because it's like a if I could do something for you, you could do something for me, and that's the key. Like to the world. It's not wrong with that. It's good, but sometimes it's good to. That's why you see a lot of people. I'm gonna pay my way from the beginning, and it's so you just keep it business. And sometimes you have to be business. You know what I mean? You don't want to like mix it up to the point where it get personal. So and so that's why I say rubbing shoulders would be the best because um it take it take somebody with a good following or somebody that could help you expand your podcast or you putting in so much work to the point where it just pop. But make it interesting, make it make sense, make it enjoyment. Like, all right, let me go back and see what they're gonna talk about next week. Cause that's the key. Like next week, that's the key. That's what people gotta understand. You can have a podcast, but what about next week? What about the next show? What about the next show? That's the key. The next show is like the biggest thing. It's not even the show you just did. You could have did the biggest show in the world. So how you gonna top the biggest show in the world? To trying to keep going to get the biggest show in the world. So that's why I say is it was content, and I rubbed a lot of shoulders, and I was able to do things, but I changed my format up to going to making voiceover videos, funny videos, things like that, just to get more following to understand the name. So now when I come back with this podcast and I push this to them, what I'm actually doing physically, that's could be under, well, let me say the right word, because I had text somebody like, yo, why don't you share my content? And it was like, it just be everywhere. To me, understanding the level of building ooh the format of a series of good content. If you know, just to keep it real, not to try to go all big with the words and shit, but and that it is with series of good content of just continuing with the same thing. Not the same thing, but the same kind of content, like podcasts, if that's a content that I'm gonna do interviews, I'm gonna be, what I mean, majority of the time it's some more interviews. So that's the key. Like I kind of burnt myself out going up there doing the way I was doing it because it wasn't as much as the help to get the information to put the content out. So it was more like I I was missing out on a lot of content because I was only going once a week, but we were supposed to go every day. But the time frame, I should have just went every day. But when you got a team, you try to do it teamly. I tried doing like $1 million worth of game, but I went and I didn't have I had it. I had the views. I switched my time. I used to and do things different. And that's another thing, not to throw y'all off to what I'm explaining about the content part. Timing. Like if you got a time, stay with the time. If you coming at 8 o'clock, stay 8 o'clock. If you can't make it next week 8 o'clock, it's always great to do pre-shows. That's why they say is keep your couple of pre-shows. And if you're a person that go live, and that's what I did, I went live. So it was hard on me to miss a week because I didn't have no other shows. Because I didn't take the time out to do pre-shows because I was doing live shows. Because that's what they want. That's what my fans was into the live show, and that's what I just try to keep the same thing going. And it burnt me out to the point. Not burnt me out. It burnt me out because I was waiting so long to put the content out, and I was missing out on a lot of content. So I was, you kind of lose a little fans here and there because it's like, then you're gonna talk about the same thing that happened yesterday. But I was really into more of the politics. I got more into the politics with the podcast to join the following to what's going on right there. Like, all right, we talking about this. This was just popping last night. So this is what we talking about right now. So it was like we talking about what's going on right now, but it was just more of my words, and I should just put more content up, and that's what it was about. It was just more content. I should have went every day, 5 days a week. I would have grabbed more following because I would have been like a information because you were gonna run to Breakfast Club, you're gonna run to Hot 97, you're gonna run to all them other TMZ, all these other platforms. But now you can run to me too, because I'm talking as well as they talking. So everybody, you gotta like lean into the fade of what's going on, and that's what I learned. I learned a lot in this atmosphere of podcast, and I just want to give out the information that I did dope. I just want to give out the dope information, like, and it's so much I'm still taking in, but just the content, it's not hard. It was more like my biggest issue was me working took me from being around a computer, from me. having to focus on content because I gotta work. And that was the thing. Like if you were just locked in this and you had some money, you locked in, locked in, locked in. Once you start making sense, it'll pay off on its own because you got a following. Once you get the following, it's not really to talk about. Everything else is gonna flow because the following going to eat whatever you put out. You're gonna eat up your own merch, eat up whatever you're trying to put out that makes sense. They're gonna be with it, and that's all it's about. And I just wanted to just reach out to the people and let them know like it's never over. It's always a new start on what you want to do in life. And I've been in a lot of situations in my life where I had to start over and gather the information the right way and then go back at it. So right now I'm into the fashion world and this podcast world and doing the funny videos, things like that. So that's a different world. So I'm generating the follow as well. I'm trying to generate a clothing line. So it's like all in one. You know what I mean? So that's the key. You just stay on point, stay true to the value of yourself, and that's what I had to learn. Like you could lose focus on who you are because of what you used to do or who you were, and that's was my only thing. I never really cared about what I did. It was all about right then because what I did is not going to affect me right there because I still got to pay bills. So that's the key. You know what I mean? And me walking away from a lot of negative things was great on my behalf because God showed me that it's other doors that can open up if you could just be patient and be patient and mindful of how you move towards life. You know what I mean? And that's the key. Moving toward life with a positive thoughts, positive mindset will be beautiful to you and your family because you understand the value of you, like I just said again, and the value of family. So it's a new beginning for me because I was kind of holding myself back from jumping out there because once you build something and you put something together, then you bring people and you try to keep it together, and sometimes don't stay together. Is everything I meant to stay together, but it is not wrong with the business keep going. You feel what I'm saying? Like, and like, it's a lot of podcasts that just the business just don't work out, and you got to just go your way, but understand content, understand the value of your podcast, understand just don't give up and just keep pushing it. And I promise you it's gonna work. And it's gonna work. Just stay on point and just keep it moving. Cause that's what I'm about to do. I'm about to turn it up and just keep going. I kind of hold myself back because I'll be in my head a lot, and that's where I'm gonna go with this other podcast with a guy that I know that's cool that I met that's kind of like real into that world, and I know that podcast will make a little more sense, on mental health and under mental health and family and things like that, and just regular life situations that go on in your daily life, not what happened yesterday. Is your daily life what happened tomorrow. You feel what I'm saying? Like you got to fight every day. Is a fight. Every day is like don't quit, don't quit. So that's where I'm at. I'm into another zone and this podcast where I just want to put out content. I always put out content that makes sense. That's why I was cool with it. I put out content that people could go back to and you can listen to. So it's not like none of the content I put out was negative. It's just I just want to put out more dope content that could be shared more frequently than you just we talked about that over there. Oh, we talked about that over there. You feel what I'm saying? Just this content you can't. It wasn't talked about there. It was talked about here. So it had to be shared over there for you to get it. You feel me? So just understanding you as a podcaster and and just pushing yourself and just keep going. That's what I'm gonna do with this I Trust Self. We're gonna make it fight. I'm gonna make it work, and I'm gonna keep showing people my growth. And you know, God's willing, and you just keep fighting. And just like what a lot of people say, as long as you put out consistent content and consistency and time, and that's all key. Cause you tell me you'll come on at 6 and you coming on at 10. You threw me off. I'm sleeping now. Now I don't really want to hear it. 'Cause I probably listen to another podcast tomorrow. I probably got to work. I'm just so locked in. So it's little things that can throw people off. That just keep focused. And I just wanted to brief just of what we got going on. And Happy New Year. If the new year broke in, that's how I wanted to break it in like this, just strong and with a fight. And that's what we're gonna do. I trust self here to fight, and our podcast is here to grow and here just to make this platform is here to grow and make everybody else build around it. But we do got a podcast that's gonna help people grow and still promote other vendors, other podcasts, other entrepreneurs, other people just doing success in the world, and that's it. And stay tuned, man. We're gonna be back real fast. And, I trust so. We out of here.